Welcome back to my channel. This is Enrique. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the tourism industry and the revenge travel that I've seen over several years now. After 2020, there was a lot of people that were locked down in their homes for many months. A lot of people were very scared to go outside, to be able to travel to different countries. There was a lot of regulation with the masks and also with this COVID vaccine situation. A lot of people did travel during that period, but they had harsh consequences whenever they went to different countries. A lot of places were closed down during 2020, 2021, and even 2022, there was a little bit of restrictions during that period. But nowadays, everything's pretty much open. You do see a couple people here. I've shown some videos. There's a couple people here with masks still. And as time goes on, less and less people are using them. Some people got stuck with that habit, especially at restaurants. A lot of restaurants got stuck with the habit of using masks. But even then, I feel like everybody that I know around me, and even on social media, there's been a lot of people this past year. They've gone to Europe especially. I've seen a lot of people go to Italy in particular. I feel like a lot of people, they're starting to go to these different places again, starting to enjoy life. If you decide to travel to a different country, such as Europe or South America or even Thailand, you want to make sure that you do it within your means. I've heard of a lot of stories online, especially other channels that I've watched, where they interview influencers and they do everything they can in their power to be able to travel to these countries. It doesn't matter if they have to refinance a home or sometimes even take out payday loans or get into serious credit card debt to be able to travel to these different foreign countries. I do agree that it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And even if you do have the time of your life there and you do take some great pictures and some video, a lot of times it's really not worth it at the end. You'll be saddled with credit card debt for many, many years and high interest payments. You're going to be a slave to that debt for many years just for one vacation, which I don't think it's worth it. I'd rather play it smart and make sure that when you do travel, that you take advantage of all the different specials there are out there. Sometimes if you go online, you'll have real good specials on travel where within your means you're able to travel. Air travel is not that very expensive anymore. If you look carefully, you can get some pretty good deals throughout the year, especially if you use private browsing online. You can go online, you can switch your browser to private browsing, and sometimes you can get better deals that way. Also, there's certain days of the week that you may be able to get specials. And nowadays, if you are responsible with your credit cards, you can even use credit card rewards to be able to travel at a budget. You may be able to get a very good plane ticket for very cheap. You just have to spend the taxes that you do have to pay out of pocket. But a lot of times it does make sense for you to get a credit card, get a good amount of bonus miles, and pretty much get a free plane ticket to a destination of your choice. They have specials. American Airlines sometimes will run a special where they'll give you 50,000 points or more airline miles, and you'll be able to get a couple flights out of that. And you may want to even look at Chase. Chase has a good point system. American Express does as well. So if you play it smart, you do your due diligence, you can definitely do some flight hacking. Also, if you decide to travel abroad, if you're a single person, you may want to look into something called couch surfing. That'll give you a very good advantage to be able to travel on the cheap. And if you do decide to use Airbnb in foreign countries, they're actually a lot cheaper in the U.S. The U.S., I feel like a lot of people have really abused the system. But when it comes to foreign countries, you can still get some pretty good deals on Airbnb. So yeah, just be very wary if you do decide to travel. Make sure you have your passport up to date. If you're from the U.S., make sure your passport is up to date. That way you don't have issues with entering or exiting the country. You don't have any hiccups. And make sure you also get a good travel insurance. Make sure you get good travel insurance. If you do get sick overseas, you want to make sure you're protected as well. So there's just a lot of little things you got to look for when you travel. And if you do decide to go into a foreign country, make sure you try to avoid using the exchange at the airport. I would highly recommend for you to withdraw the money at a local ATM at the country of your choice when you do land. And if it's possible, try to look for a bank that will allow you to avoid transaction fees when you debit from your bank account. I think Charles Schwab might have a program where if you do have a checking account with them, they'll reimburse the transaction fees. Also, when you do travel abroad, try to get yourself a credit card that doesn't charge the foreign transaction fees. Those can add up pretty fast. They can be a couple percentage points if you do some big ticket item purchases. And just make sure if you do travel to places such as Machu Picchu or probably other countries, Asian countries, where sometimes you do have to schedule in advance your trips to be able to enter certain places. You don't want to get caught off guard once you're closer to your trip where you can't go to certain destinations because you didn't book things in advance. So also, when you do get to your foreign country, I would definitely try to stay away from the tourist traps as much as possible. Try to find out where the locals go to eat or where the locals go to stay. Try to get that information ahead of time. I think nowadays Google would be one of your good friends. If you go on Google Maps, you can get a lot of good choices there on Google Maps as to what the locals are liking, how much reviews, whether it got a 5-star review. I always try to see what the reviews look like, what the food looks like. You can get some real good restaurants, especially if you go to South America or Thailand. You get some real good cuisine. So yeah, that's pretty much what I recommend. Those are just little tips. Like I said, I would do your due diligence. I would go online, make sure you plan ahead. But again, do it within your means. I think there's going to be a lot of debt. I've actually heard of a lot of people and talked to a lot of people within my community in the past that they've saddled themselves into real large debt just to be able to afford to take their family of 4 or 5 to places like Disneyland, places like Universal Studios, places like Disney World. It's just getting really, really expensive to travel nowadays, especially if you do decide to eat out. It's just incredible how much inflation has really shredded the finances of everyday Americans. But again, there's a lot of things that you can do that don't cost a lot of money if you do have children. Try to find ways to be able to economize when you do travel. Maybe go to parks that are not that expensive to be able to have admission, and just continue to save during the time that you're not on vacation for a nice vacation. You can do it with your family. There's nothing wrong with taking time off, especially if you have the luxury to do it with your work. If you are self-employed, it is a little bit harder sometimes, even though it does give you the freedom to be able to travel whenever you want. But you should do it. It's always good to have a good vacation here and there. Don't limit yourself within your means. So again, that's just something I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I'm coming here, taking a couple days off here in Mexico. I'm here in Ensenada, and right behind me you'll see a cruise ship. It's very windy here. I hope the audio is good for you guys, but I'll continue to provide you good content, little tips and tricks about finances here and there, just real life situations. Not everything is about money. Also, you have to make sure, again, as I've mentioned before, you have to have a very good circle of friends and family that are there to support you. You don't want fake people around you, especially not at this moment. There's a lot of fake people out in this world. So you want to make sure you surround yourself with genuine people that'll have your back. Especially, I think one of the things that I've said several times in the past is, if you want to make someone disappear, just give them a loan. And if that person is not authentic, they won't pay you back. And then they're going to make themselves the victim.